Kenny, play! Weber! Stay Kenny, man. Charlie's feet. Get set! Okay, coming! Easy 10 feet. Charlie, get it!
Yeah, that's it. I seen her in the last week. 45 degrees and sweating. Was in the winter. They're alright. Good to hear.
Charlie, fucking keep that!
Pretty good as long as the rain doesn't.
If we get to windy, then
Yeah, windy.
absolutely screwed.
Charlie, push one on! That's Kenny's! Amir, push on! Amir, get ready! Amir, forward! Forward! Get in, Lucas, go! Kenny, Dan, go!
Oh, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Welcome to Landon Stadium, round 14 action in the NPL New South Wales men's competition on this Sunday afternoon. It's Blacktown City hosting Sydney FC. Kick-off at 3 p.m.
Yeah, all good.
Thanks, bro.
Pressing set.
Stadium. This round 14 clash of the NPL New South Wales men's competition. Your Blacktown City taking on Sydney FC. Welcome to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day. Also to the mothers that are no longer with us. We're always thinking of you. So as we wait for the players to make their way out, we'll run through today's lineup for you. Firstly, visitors, Sydney FC, they line up like this. From goals, number 30, Gus Oxley. Number 3, Cole Shaw. Number 14, Jared Middleton. Number 18, skipper, Alan Harbass. Number 20, Jago Quintala. Number 21, Zach Jesus. Number 24, Otaro Camijo. Number 27, Lachlan Middleton. Number 29, Joe Lacey. Number 33, Myron Grant. And number 37, Will Kennedy on the bench. Number 4, Joseph Kalsic. Number 6, Tyler Williams. Number 9, Matthias McAllister. Number 10, Ty Headley. Number 12, reserve keeper, Alexander Zavadinos. And number 39, Dylan Rose. They are coached by Jim Van Wieren. Now, your Blacktown City, they line up like this today. Number 1, Kane Henson. Number 4, Lockie Campbell. Number 5, Brad Lynch. Number 7, celebrating his 300th game. There'll be a presentation on field before kick-off. Travis Major. Number 8, Jack O'Brien. Number 11, Danny Choi. Number 14, Mitchell Malia. Number 17, Marty Fernandez. Number 18, Nick O'Brien. Number 19, Sebastian Haywood. And number 23, Jacob Pressner. On the bench, number 3, Barry McKinley. Number 9, Johnny Moore. Number 10, Maxim Jez. Number 16, Ben Barry. Reserve keeper number 20, Zach Bowley. And number 24, Jackson Vandera. Also coached by the one and only Mark Quigley. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome to Landon Stadium. Your Blacktown City Demons and Sydney FC is round 14 clash.
Good afternoon, everybody. A very happy Mother's Day as I welcome you to Landon Stadium. NPL New South Wales men's action for you on this rather soggy Sunday in Sydney's West. Blacktown City hosting Sydney FC in round 14. And a big chance for the hosts today to throw themselves further into the premiership picture. Marconi's shock defeat by Wollongong last night means they could cut the Stallions' lead to just 3 points today, as they go for their 6th straight league win. The young Sky Blues will be no pushovers though. They found a purple patch of form themselves of late and are coming off a week in which they didn't play a game, so on fresh legs and bringing back A-League stars with Wataru Camijo back in midfield today, along with Quintal, France and De Jesus. There's more than a bit for Mark Crittenden's side to worry about. We've learnt recently at Landon Stadium and indeed across this competition to expect the unexpected. Alex Molchanoff, delighted to be with you and reiterating a very, very happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there. And we are very, very fortunate to have your company on this most special of days for you. A special day as well for Travis Major, notches up appearance number 300 for Blacktown City, 3rd in their all-time appearances, only behind Damien Fox and Matty Lewis. Catch Damien Fox before the end of the season if he stays fit. He's only got 5 more games to pass his former record. It was a long-standing one as well, with 304 appearances. Major and Lewis set to go past him in the space of 5 years. A couple of stints at the club, interrupted by stints overseas in Hong Kong and with Kinglass Punjab in the Indian competition. But if the table wasn't enough motivation for the 11 out there today, then that certainly adds a little bit more. There's 4 changes for Mark Crittenden today from the team that beat the Western Sydney Wanderers by 4-0 last week. 2 from the team that beat Wollongong Olympic 3-1 in the Cup in midweek. Travis Major expected to line up front as we see the players in front of us. We'll bring you the lineups as the games begin here. Just one change for Jim Van Weeren's side from the team that blew the colours of the Sutherland Sharks last time out a couple of weeks ago. Wataru Kamijo into midfield for Dylan Rose, who returns to the bench. Hear those announcements. Always looking a little embarrassed by it all. Travis Major, he's got the captain's armband on. He's up front, and it looks as though Mark Crittenden has lined up his team in a back 4 this afternoon. We'll see how that all plays out as we get underway. Sydney FC in their home sky blue, kicking from left to right. Good travelling contingent. Make their voices heard all afternoon. The Blacktown fans have populated the stand on the far side, as they always seem to. Weather hasn't kept too many away. It's been Sydney FC with all the ball in the early stages. One played through towards Harbas. Be well up towards the top of the Sky Blues all-time appearance leaders in this competition, certainly. His second stint in Sky Blue. He's earned that captain's armband and is one out in the race for the striking role at the moment, ahead of Matthias McAllister, who's sat on the bench again today. A couple of the A-League contingent getting together with De Jesus and then Kidsal. Lockie Middleton trying to lend a hand. He has won it back. Will Kennedy happy to return the ball to Lockie's brother Jared, playing in the heart of defence again today alongside Kyle Shaw. Another in his second stint with Sydney FC. Being a mid-season signing for the A-League squads from Northwest Sydney Spirits after those publicised issues in defence, and then he fell over with an injury as well. Senior team weren't able to qualify for the finals. De Jesus had a big part to play across both league and Asian campaigns this season, moving it forward. Middleton again. Started well here, the young Sky Blues. Lacey for De Jesus. He's got the better of Kresna and delivers towards Harbas. Good early chance for the Sky Blue skipper. The nod's hit the wrong side of the post. Wasn't picked up there. He's got the height advantage over Lockie Campbell, who's not one of the bigger centre halves in the competition. Plays above his size in those positions usually. He's beaten to it by the Sky Blues marksman. Couldn't add to the 4 that he's got already this season. To the 2 he's got, already this season in the NPL. Rain was falling during the under-20s game that preceded this one. Players will be thankful that it's staying away for now, although the clouds are gathering away to our left. See if the weather does play any part this afternoon. Mentioned these are 2 teams in good form at the moment. Sydney FC without a loss in 4, but they've got some defending to do here. Marty Fernandez quickest to it and didn't make the most of the opportunity. With a couple to aim for in the middle, including Major. He's already the club's all-time leading goal scorer. Past that mark several seasons ago now. Here through effects wise. It's not the loudest around Landon Stadium in the early stages. No doubt that will grow as the game goes on. Always seems to here. Blacktown in that run of 5 straight games have been pushed in a few of them. Had a couple of 3-2 victories here against Sydney United, where they had to come from 2 down at half-time. The inclusion today, Seb Hayward brought on at half-time in that game to play as the holding midfielder. He's been trusted in that role again today by Mark Crittenden, the youngster. Still only 19 years of age. Jack O'Brien just nudged off it. Wasn't in the starting side a couple of weeks ago. A weekend ago, rather. A 4-0 win over the Western Sydney Wanderers out at Wanderers Football Park. Was helped by a couple of red cards in that game. Blacktown City did already have a 2-goal advantage by the time those 2 send-offs happened. And managed to add another couple in what was a comfortable afternoon for them. Trailed against Wollongong Olympic during the week. To come from behind the trip down south, but they're through to the final round of Australia Cup qualifying. Made it through to the national stages of that competition a year ago. Well placed at the moment. Qualify for the Australian Championship. If they can pick up another 3 points here this afternoon, they'll move into that qualifying position. Thanks to Marconi currently sitting top. They'd like to chase them down in the race for the premiership as well, though. Grand final winners in 2022, Blacktown City, but it's been a while since they've taken home a New South Wales premiership. A fair share of defending in the early stages, but that was nicely worked out between Fernandez and Danny Choi, who scored a screamer last weekend. Ball pushed forward by Jack O'Brien, out of reach of Mitch Malia, who started the season in such fine form. It's up around the top of the Golden Boot race for a time, but Kurasevsky, as it's almost expected now, has raced away in that race, and the goal scoring has been shared a little more, which I think will encourage Crittenden and his coaching staff, including Matty Bingley, of course, today, coaching against the club with which he won the first ever A-League championship back in 2006. Nick O'Brien reverting to right full-back today. He's a back 4. He's gone with a back 3 in the majority of games so far this season, Mark Crittenden. Whether that's just for this opposition or form of the players. Certainly it's an attacking lineup he's thrown out there today to put pressure on Sydney FC. They've been in good goal-scoring form of late, Blacktown. Got full-backs in both Nick O'Brien down the right and Jacob Kresnar, you can see, getting onto the ball there, who like to get forward from their full-back positions. The fact that Crittenden has got that flexibility, it just adds a measure of uncertainty for teams when they travel here. Never 100% sure about how Mark Crittenden is going to set up his 11, regardless of the personnel. Here is Malia on the right. More orthodox right wing role by the looks of things today. Sydney FC's early dominance of possession has been roped in a little. Blacktown City building from the back really for the first time this afternoon. Marty Fernandez dropping in. Started life in this competition as a winger, but more and more often being deployed through the centre of midfield. His running power is a real asset, particularly with the ball at his feet when he's got the opportunity to turn in those half spaces. Danny Choi putting the pressure on Herfsluit, who's been in fine form to start this season. A good opening half of the year, and given the form of Harrison Devonish-Mears and the departure of Andrew Redmayne, I'd be half a thought about getting him into the first team at the start of the next A-League season for the Sydney FC coaching staff, whether that's Ufuk Talay leading them or somebody else. Marin France, speaking of running power, chopped down crudely by Lachlan Campbell. Not one to pull out of challenges. First appeal for card to be shown from our referee today, Logan Jones, who resists that urge. Pace of France is such that it often looks fairly spectacular when he is fouled. He's been one of the most fouled players in this competition for the last couple of seasons. He's right up the top of that statistic a year ago. Quintal leading the press and initially getting the better of Kresnar, but the left fullback recovered well to make sure it was a goal kick rather than an attacking set-piece opportunity for the visitors. Mention Marconi's defeat by the Wollongong Wolves, their first of the season, first since Blacktown City beat them at Marconi Stadium towards the end of last season. It's actually the result that sealed the premiership for Rockdale Illingdon. Not the only high-flying side to drop points this weekend. Rockdale Illingdon held 1-1 by Manly United on Friday night, meaning that Blacktown City would jump them into second with a win this afternoon. Just been going about their business. They didn't start the season particularly brightly, Blacktown City, and even at the start of this run of wins, the coach was making it clear he wasn't happy with performances in their entirety. Sloppy turnovers like that won't make him too happy. That's a fantastic recovery from Hayward there to nick it off the toe of Lacey after he'd been dispossessed himself. Middleton of the Jared variety, stepping into midfield to nick the ball off Sebastian Hayward as he made his way forward. First time a small contingent of the Cove with no A-League men's football to follow for the rest of the season, making their voices heard from behind Caden Henderson's goal, right to our right. Kresnar striding forward. Passes nicely with Choi in a crossing position. It's found its way to Major. Gained 300, and Fernandez, for the second time in the opening 10 minutes, blazes it over the crossbar. This time from a more central position. Major, as he so often does, doing the team thing. Had the pressure behind him from Kyle Shaw, but would have had half a thought of trying to get a shot away himself. Watch for the tacticians in these early stages. Sydney FC dogged in their determination to play out from the back. They've certainly got the quality of player to do that. See Will Kennedy playing forward to France, not for the first time, getting at his fullback and then getting past Campbell. Can he stride into the area? He does under the pressure of Nick O'Brien. Still managed to get the cross in, and then Lacey fires over. Chances coming at a rate of knots down both ends to start this game. And this time it's Joe Lacey firing away and firing over. Northern Beaches Jr. influential early. Sloppy turnover from Kresnar. It's all actually a very still atmosphere around Landon Stadium, but the action on the field has been fast, almost frantic at times. Middleton brothers playing between them. Now to Camijo. Became a regular for Ufuk Tale in the first team towards the end of the season. Well-known talent to watchers of this competition for a little while now. Wataru Camijo. Henderson not quite getting the distance on the clearance that he would have liked, and so Middleton can play down for Shaw. Further forward to De Jesus. Quintal spinning. Camijo around the press of Major. It's going to be a tough afternoon for Blacktown City. Sure, they had no they weren't underestimating their opponents coming into the afternoon, and certainly the attacking flair they've shown in the early stages. It's proven there's a bit to worry about for Blacktown defensively, which has been the Achilles heel at times this season. Been a little steadier over the last month or so. Been put under the pump in the early stages here. Quintal key in getting Sydney FC forward. Now he takes the set piece. It goes short to Lacey. Quintal, the Australian under-20 international. Not the tidiest of crosses, and Malia, who once wore the sky blue himself, very early days of his career. down there. Promising young fullback. Albas, haven't seen him do too much of that in the early stages, try and really link up with his midfield. Wasn't the tidiest, but it has worked out. Camijo. Quintal loves to operate in these little areas, just forcing it a little there. Sebastian Hayward's been very watchful, knowing the threat he offers through the middle of the park in these early stages. Sky Blues trying to keep the tempo high, trying to keep the ball in play as much as possible and put their hosts under some early pressure. 15 minutes in, this has been a good watch. Jesus. Once again, he and Quintal interchanging passes. Kressner under pressure. The cross is towards Harbas, but a game behind him. Seen that pattern of play a few times already, haven't we? Camijo spinning out of the challenge, and Jack O'Brien's only option was to pull him down. Struggling to get the foot on the ball consistently through the middle of the park at the moment, the hosts. Quintal. Lovely little 1-2, and how about the turn to beat the defender as well? One more step over and lost his balance as he went to shoot. There's such wraps on Thiago Quintal, and you can see exactly why with passages of play like that. Dancing feet, swivel of the hips. Defender's nightmare. Jack O'Brien's just barreling and bustling his way into players through the centre of the park at the moment. Lacey putting Lynch under pressure. He's seen that all before. The Blacktown City centre half. Straight up to Major, who was returning from an offside position. He's a little bewildered by the offside flag going up, but did start his run slightly beyond the Sky Blues back line. First time Herfslut's really had to go long. Quintal's close control winning out. A little bit of luck as it breaks for Lacey. Coming together between Campbell and Harbas in the middle of the field. Murren France trying to evade Nick O'Brien. And the whistle went after a look that there was no advantage, and Nick O'Brien's going to be the first name in the referee's notebook this afternoon. The fouls are being blown against Blacktown City, but you could say second to the ball at the moment. The Sky Blues just looking a little sharper than their hosts in these early stages. Camijo over this. There's plenty of height amongst those who will attack this set piece for Sydney FC. It's not been the most fruitful way to goal this season. Jesus a little bit sloppy as he looked to keep the attack alive, and now there's a chance for Blacktown to go in transition as Jack O'Brien is tugged down. Well, it wasn't exactly subtle, was it, from Camijo? It's a fairly obvious one. Now, plays continued here, but the referee hadn't allowed plays to get back underway. So this will be brought back to where that initial free kick was taken from. So it caught me a little bit by surprise as well. Looked up and suddenly Blacktown were making their way towards goal, but referee was still jotting down Tado Camijo's name. So now a discussion between both sets of players and the official, and Blacktown, I'm sure, going to go the more direct route this time around. It's looking like a nice little worked quick free kick as well. So all 11 Sky Blues behind the ball as Lockie Campbell got up. He's so dangerous from those set-piece situations. In an attacking sense, didn't quite make the contact that he was looking for. Oh, weighted ball in from Nick O'Brien. Underrated user of the dead ball, I'd say. Been interested that Blacktown had not looked to press too high. It's been an extreme press, but certainly not looking to make it easy for Sydney FC to play out. And Crittenden is encouraging his team to press higher now. So Herfsloot trying to measure that ball forwards, and Lachlan Campbell might just be walking a fine tightrope in terms of his name being added to the referee's notebook as well. A couple of times he's come flying out of defence into a Sydney FC midfielder. This time Joe Lacey feeling the brunt of the challenge. Middleton forced to go long. Asking Maro France has got plenty of pace to chase it, but Nick O'Brien always had front position. Rice smile as he gets some words of encouragement, we'll call it that, from the travelling Sydney FC fans. Quintal and Arbas just on slightly different pages. Quintal giving a Rice smile to his captain. Fernandez a little sloppy. Lynch took a big swing, didn't get any of the ball, got plenty of Harbas, and eventually the referee's whistle goes in favour of Sydney FC. Not going direct unless they're forced to. France. For it with Nick O'Brien. Lacey just giving Hayward a shove, and so this time the free kick is in Blacktown City's favour. They've looked to go quickly as well, the host, but they've looked to go direct towards Major, and Malia, when he has been high enough. Choi hasn't seen too much of the football in the early stages. Probably like him a little more involved than he has been. Started this season coming off the bench. Danny Choi has worked his way into the starting side. Shown flashes of the form. Maybe one of the most heralded players in this competition almost a decade ago now. Ball played up towards him, but Shaw stepping across him. Nice ball forward from Campbell. The touchdown from Malia, not too bad either for Jack O'Brien. Nick O'Brien, and this is more like what Blacktown City are looking to do. Moving the ball from side to side, trying to work Sydney FC out of their shape. Now Malia's got Kennedy isolated. And the loft one in. Major was approaching that one at a rate of knots, but Shaw, again, he's got a cool head beyond his years, and for the first time Sydney go direct, but Harbas had made his run a little too early. So Major been pinged for one of them. Now it's the Sydney FC skipper's turn. Other results from across the weekend. The Western Sydney Wanderers bouncing back from that 4-0 defeat by Blacktown last weekend to grab a 3-0 win at St George FC. Result that's taken them closer to Mount Druitt Town Rangers. That relegation race. Had a 0-0 draw yesterday with the Sutherland Sharks. Now without a goal in 6 games. Sydney Olympic bouncing back from their midweek defeat by Sydney United in the Cup to win 4-0 at Jubilee Stadium. Wolves beating Marconi by 3-0 as we mentioned a little earlier, and St George City playing out a 0-0 draw with Apia Leichhardt as well. The game being played concurrently on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. We found this one. Spirit FC leading the Central Coast Mariners 2-0 in the early stages. Plume Park finally getting some football back on the Central Coast in the NPL New South Wales men's competition. A couple of months I've been waiting to get on at Plume to see that they've been able to this afternoon. Well, apologies if you heard the language. Lockie Campbell wasn't too happy with the pass. It worked out all right, though. Kresnar making the underlapping run. Cross didn't beat Shaw, who's been at the centre of everything good Sydney FC have been doing defensively. Really leaning on the former Spirit man at the moment. Lovely turn from Fernandez. Ball across to Major. Didn't match that. And now Quintal can run clear. Choi in his back. Still fighting through contact, Thiago Quintal. Did brilliantly. De Jesus. Just waiting for that moment to spark this game into life. The pace of play has been impressive. The battle between the players. Technical skills on display. Lacey and Campbell, not the first time they've come together. Getting in a little bit of rough and tumble. And Malia, well, I think he was trying to catch Herfsloot out, but didn't catch as much of it as he wanted. The discussion between Lacey and players behind him going on. It's all happening. Little flashpoints everywhere. It's had everything except a goal. The opening 26 minutes of this game. Alex Molchanoff along with you on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel on Mother's Day. Blacktown City looking to shoot themselves up the table, but under some real pressure from the young Sky Blues on a weekend of upsets. Morin France flashing it across the face of goal. He really has caused some headaches for Blacktown City down the right-hand side of their defence. Lightning quick. Cutting in on that favoured right foot of his. Henderson happy that that ball didn't have the curve to force him into a save. Shaw above the pack. Quintal's chest down only as far as Haywood, and then his pass evades Marty Fernandez. Canijo, prominent early, less so in the last 5 or 10 minutes. That's a lovely switch of play, though, to open up the field and find France, who lost his footing at the vital moment. Lynch for Kresnar. There's numbers for Blacktown if they play it right here. Canijo, got to be careful, already been booked. Choi chopping inside him. Further square for Fernandez. And right for Malia, who went down very softly. Oh, and then really came together with Will Kennedy as he returned to his feet. Don't know if he just didn't see the Sydney FC fullback there. Anyway, no harm done. Kresnar, Blacktown having their best period of the match. Comes apart. Kresnar losing the football. Now there's a chance for Quintal to stride forward. Albas stretching to control and then trying to measure something through the middle. Campbell's clearance came straight back to him. And Thiago Quintal is in on goal here. Lovely challenge from Lockie Campbell and cover. Players just making initial errors and then bailing themselves out with bits of brilliance. Jesus firm in his win, but it's a little agricultural in nature. Shaw. Well, that's a lovely ball from Harbas, but Lacey had stepped. She's still on this near side. Cameron Wright's had plenty to watch in this first half. Sydney trying to break the lines when they can go in transition, preferring to build up from the back, but knowing that if the press does work, they're happy to move it quickly upfield with France and Quintal and Lacey. Harbas is no slowpoke either. Lovely ball from Jack O'Brien. Seen Major drift to the right for the first time. The ball in's not bad either. De Jesus sweeping across behind his defence to clear the danger in the nick of time. Travis Major darting out to that right-hand side. He occupied that for so long. The start of his Blacktown City career. It's turned into more and more an out-and-out goal scorer as his career's gone on. Still showing that adeptness in wide positions when it's asked of him. Targeting him from this set piece. Didn't get over the top of Lockie Middleton. Choi. Measure one for Campbell. Flicked away by Lachlan Middleton this time. Still the attack alive through Malia. Hayward. Now Nick O'Brien, who's comfortable in these positions as well. Often deployed by Crittenden as a holding midfielder. He's been asked to do that ball playing here. Inside for Jack O'Brien. Just rolled it. Nice weights, but Blacktown City can't pierce a hole in Sydney FC's well-set defence yet. Fernandez. Malia. Doesn't mind a shot from distance. Thinks better of it this time. Choi might have a similar thought. Or a crossing chance. Lockie Campbell not as a just wide. Stayed up for quite a phase of play there. The Blacktown City centre half. Picked up by a lovely cross from Choi. And player of his quality. Expecting to hit the target from that sort of position. Some nice passages of play being built by Blacktown City. Work their way back into this game. They're on the back foot early. Managed to swing the pendulum in their favour. So this first half has worn on. We've just ticked past the half-hour mark. Travis Major's 300th appearance for the club. Might be able to take part in the press here. Herfsloot right inside his 6-yard box. For Kyle Shaw. This one just too much weight on it, even for Lacey. Kressnar. Knocked down from De Jesus, only as far as Choi. He's allowed to run. Malia. Deep ball for Major. He's kept it in, and Fernandez blazes it over from 6 yards. Best chance of the game for Blacktown. But they're still yet to force Gus Herfsloot into a meaningful save. He won't get too many better opportunities than that, Marty Fernandez. Tight as the angle was. The finishing touch eluding him. Oh, some pressure on Lachlan Middleton as they look to play out there. Did well to get around the press of Blacktown City. And it might just release Sydney FC down the other end. Oh, there's sloppiness sneaking across all the Sky Blues at the moment. Choi growing in influence. Malia. Malia again. Just feel like you can't take your eyes off this one because something could come from anywhere, and then you see a sloppy mistake like that from Malia. Really poor turnover, and Harbas is striding away from Campbell, bearing down on goal and giving Sydney FC the lead. One end to the other, quick as a flash, and Alan Harbas wearing the captain's armband took the chance when presented. Blacktown City caught cold on the counter. You have to say it's against the run of play. All things considered, the Sky Blues won't care about that. They know the threat they offer in transition. And you saw it right there. Route 1 at its finest. Inquiries amongst the Blacktown City defence. It's not the first time we've seen them caught a little high and on their heels by pacey opposition this season. The old bug comes back to bite them. 10 minutes to go in the first half. Really, during the best period of the match as well. It's a real sucker punch. A big blow on a weekend of upsets. We knew Sydney FC would provide a test to the team sitting third coming into the afternoon. Dominated the opening quarter of an hour. Then it's given that back some of that momentum. But now they are full of fire and running with a poor turnover. This time it's Kennedy driving forward. Arbas is full of confidence. Oh, and he looked to square it up. Still not clear, though. Eventually, Kresna back to mop up. And flying into the tackle with no real intent of getting the ball. There's Lockie Middleton. Marley is feeling the brunt of it. A heavy challenge, not for the first time either. Jack O'Brien now testing Jared Middleton. Ball in. It's an awkward clearance from Shaw, but it did the job, at least initially. Kresna. Fernandez. For the switch of play, it's a beauty for Jack O'Brien. Chance to strike back here. What a save from Earthflute, and then off the line from Shaw. Miracle defending from Sydney FC. It's the first save that Earthflute's had to make. It was superb, and then probably outshone by Kyle Shaw's goal line clearance. Blacktown wondering how on earth they aren't level. Major thought that ball was destined for the back of the net. Still might be. And the ball's, well, it had stayed in play, but Jack O'Brien thundered into Gus Earthflute, I think. It's been picked up by first Blake Sanchez Cruz, the assistant on the far side, and then the referee, Logan Jones. Well, big let off for Sydney FC there. Bailed out by Kyle Shaw. It's had a fine afternoon in the heart of their defence. Heroic on the goal line there. Spoken about the fine start to the season that Earthflute has had. It's the man of the match in the 0-0 draw. The junior derby against the Wanderers a few weeks ago. Made some outstanding saves that day. Turning into another fine young goalkeeper coming out of Sydney FC's academy. And the two Pavlicics been picked up by other clubs, but as good as some of the on-field players are that they're churning out, seems to be some pretty good goalkeepers as well. Kennedy's throw was towards no one in particular there. It's been a bizarre game in that sense. Seen these moments of brilliance from both sides. Almost interchanging with moments of real sloppiness. I suppose you expect from an academy side, young players still learning their trade, as even the ones with A-League experience as Camijo and De Jesus have. Put Quintal in that category. For Blacktown City, it's been the story of their season. You feel if they can put it all together, they're as likely as any to challenge for silverware, but consistently running themselves into issues after looking as though they're playing really well. as they have here today. Their finest period of the match results in them conceding on the break and going behind. Sydney FC have been buoyed by that goal as well. Quintal taking up the attack and brought down a little sloppily by Marty Fernandez. Slid in from behind the young Socceroo. Catching him right on the ankle. Once again, Quintal getting in those spaces between defence and midfield. Getting the ball on the half turn. Seb Hayward's done his best to marshal him, but just so lightning quick, and he really does cover a lot of ground from flank to flank as well. So Harbas is over this one. 4 in the wall. He's already got a goal today, the Sydney FC captain. 5 minutes from half-time. Can he strike another one? Didn't quite get the dip on that. To the protective netting behind the goal of Caden Henderson. Just joining us. And Harbas' strike is the one that separates the two teams. Came just after the half-hour mark. 2 direct passes to the Sydney FC captain, getting off the shoulder of Lachlan Campbell and running away from him to slot past Henderson. I have to say, on balance of play, Sydney FC have deserved their lead. Camijo, lovely bit of skill. And just pondered over it, but it only went as far as Lockie Middleton, who doubles Sydney's lead. Swerving through the air, past Henderson. And ending up right in the back of the net. It almost split it. Another moment that fell the young Sky Blues' way. And they've been deadly in front of goal. Not well known as a goal scorer, Lachlan Middleton. Well, that is a fine strike. First of the season. One he'll remember for a while as well. And Blacktown City, they've trailed 2-0 here only a couple of weeks ago. At half-time, I managed to come back that day and take all 3 points against Sydney United 58. Sydney FC not looking in the mood to be as forgiving, though. With the exception of that middle period in the first half, they've been outplayed. I mentioned after the first goal it was against the run of play. That one certainly wasn't. That had been coming. Fernandez, can they give Sydney a taste of their own medicine and catch them on the break? Choi, ball just eluding them. It's not rolling for them at the moment, Blacktown City, and even that little 50-50. Zach De Jesus has got the better of Kresna. Campbell well positioned on this occasion. Change to the back 4, which we've seen Crittenden go to, and did that day against Sydney United 58 with great success. It's not borne the same fruit this afternoon. Sydney have just had enough time across the course of the afternoon. So these little 50-50s, the little individual duels, all fall in the way of the youngsters. Mentioned it's been a weekend of upsets in the NPL New South Wales men's. Another one brewing here. Lockie Middleton, fresh off his goal. Well, he's played that for Harbas, who just stepped ahead of the ball being played. Once again, the run wasn't bad. With a little bit more discipline, Sydney FC might have been able to break the line again there. So an indication from fourth official Owen Langholz. We're expecting just a minute to be added on at the end of this first half. It has been 45 minutes of football with Plenty of ball in play. Been a good watch, especially if you're supporting Sydney FC and ball striking the referee, so it will be a drop ball. End of apology from Logan Jones. As well, they might have felt they'd been able to run their way out of trouble there. Kresnar's been left on the turf by the challenge from Lacey. Play goes on without him. Good header initially from Nick O'Brien, then Campbell got himself in a right mess. Nick O'Brien bails him out. Kamijo, Sydney FC are looking pretty comfortable at the moment, holding this 2-goal advantage. Goals from Lockie Middleton and Alan Harbas. Space for them here too. De Jesus is happy to run at Choi and go past him. Lynch just blocking off the passing lane rather. Oh, then another ball that put Hayward in a world of hurt. Nothing the young midfielder could do. It's all looking very sloppy from Blacktown. They might be about to be punished. Lacey goes down on the challenge from Choi, then got back to his feet, then found Quintal, who lost his balance as he looked to beat Lynch. There's some discussion from the Sydney FC bench about a potential penalty for the challenge from Choi, who did leave his feet. But Lacey had, I think, the opportunity to make his way around the challenge, and that's the reason it's not been given. Had a couple of moments gone their way in this first half, Sydney FC. Blacktown City's situation might be a little bit worse. Already, there looks like there's changes coming for Blacktown City because Jacob Kresnar has got down and doesn't look as though he's going to be able to return. It's at the end of his afternoon. Jackson Bandiera being readied. And, well, Blacktown have decided to just hold that change till half-time at least. So, 20 more minutes to get ready for Jackson Bandiera. Turned into the club this season from short stint with Druitt Town Rangers and then Sydney Olympic. Grand final winner here back in 2022. The majority of this squad were, but they're being outplayed by Sydney FC here. A run of 5 straight wins hangs in the balance. Sydney FC dominant for portions of the first half. Funnily enough, their opening goal through Alan Harbas probably came after Blacktown's best periods. But 2 long balls catching their defence out before a stunning strike from Lockie Middleton, who's got a big smile as he makes his way to the touchline, as do most of the young Sky Blues. They're looking pretty comfortable as both teams head to the sheds here at Landon Stadium. Another upset brewing in round 14 of the NPL New South Wales men's. It's Blacktown City 0, Sydney FC 2. Welcome back to Landon Stadium. About to get underway in the second half. Sydney FC leading their host Blacktown City by 2-0 at the break. Double punch just before the break. Alan Harbas opening the scoring just after the half-hour mark, and then 7 minutes later, Lockie Campbell getting his first goal since July 2023. A thundering strike that beat Caden Henderson and put Blacktown City in a big mire. Come back from 2 goals down in recent times. Going to have to be right at it from the start in the second half. It's a sloppy performance from the team hoping to enter the premiership picture with the win today. They've got a long road ahead. They're to find their way back into this game in Travis Major's 300th game for the club. It's not a game he's had a lot of influence in, to be honest. Sydney FC have had the majority of play going their way, but they've got a bit of defending to do to start this second half as Malia is bundled into the back of by Will Kennedy just outside the penalty area, although Malia fell inside. Bit of wiliness and street smarts from Mitch Malia there to win the free kick. Showing the ball to the defender and then just making sure he got his body in the way. This one is almost right on the line at the edge of the penalty area. And so an early opportunity to give themselves a lifeline here. City, 2 in the wall for Hurslet. It's a tricky one to defend, and Major's there. Nodded it back centrally rather than towards goal. Hayward did well. Found Bandiera, the half-time sub, and another header over the crossbar from Martin Fernandez. It might not have counted in any case because the flag, I think, had gone up. Building pressure early, Blacktown City. They needed to fly out of the blocks in the second half. On some way to doing just that. Would have loved a goal at the end of it, not to be. Two goals from Sydney FC, split between a quite remarkable sequence where getting back on his own goal line, managed to make the block and save the day for Sydney FC. It's a game Blacktown have been second best in to this point, but certainly haven't been out of it by any stretch. A period in the middle section of the first half where they looked in the ascendancy, and that was right before Alan Harbas gave Sydney FC the lead. It's been that sort of afternoon. That substitution that was mooted just before the break, Jackson Bandiera has come on for Jacob Kresnar, whose afternoon's over. A little bit of a leg niggle. Only took one time to get it right, though. That's how the first goal came. Mentioned a few times that come from behind win over Sydney United. The situation was not dissimilar. Critton has resisted the urge to make any sort of tactical change at half-time. The substitution very much like for like and necessitated by the injury to Jackson Bandiera. Actually waited until half-time so that they haven't used one of their stoppages either. 5 subs, of course, allowed to be used. This is the norm across most football competitions now, but you still only got 3 stoppages to make them in. So you had a free one at half-time. So Blacktown have still got all 3 windows open to make their changes. Quintal, who was so impressive in the first half. Blacktown's afternoon is going from bad to worse. Off the back of what's been a quite stunning display from Alan Harbas. We've seen it before from him. He's having a day out. And Blacktown have not had the answers. You've seen what's coming. That ball played in behind the Blacktown defence has undone them again. Quintal having another fine afternoon. And Harbas is reaping the rewards of the fine display. That his team has put together. A better halftime sub as well, which we've missed amongst all the action. Tay Headley has made his way out there, another technically gifted midfield player. It's a poor turnover there from Kyle Shaw. Don't say that too often. Choi is away with the ball. Headley recovering to snuff out the attack. We were wondering if there was going to be a battle in this second half, and Blacktown City again had the best early chance, weren't able to take it, and have been punished. So often we talk about the big moments in both boxes in this competition. It's been the story of the game today. They'll find a way back here. Chance for Haywood, and a good save by Herfsloot. A double save. Major was offside on the follow-up, but the no damage this afternoon. Two superb saves either side of the break. That was well struck by Hayward, and would have beaten, you feel, a lot of goalkeepers in this competition. Not this youngster. Through a forest of bodies as well. Took some sort of reaction as well as a strong right wrist. Fell out of frustration as much as anything. But as has been the rhythm of the afternoon, Sydney FC first to the football more often than not. It's been as simple as that. And wondered if his team would live today. 5 straight in all competitions. Well and truly gone now. It would take a miracle to save something from here. I don't think Alan Harbas will have many easier goals than that for a hat-trick. Just strolled through the middle of the park, completely unmarked. The Blacktown defence stopped expecting a flag, which never came, and he was well onside. The Sydney FC skipper. Well, he only had 2 goals coming into the afternoon in the NPL this season, Alan Harbas. He's now on 5 as Choi bends that one over the top. Hersloot was happy to see it flash across the face of his goal. He's made a couple of good saves that have meant Sydney FC have been able to build this 4-goal advantage. But the story has been down the other end. Blacktown City's defending has not been up to the mark today. Looks as though they're going to empty their bench here as well. A couple of changes coming for Sydney as well. Dylan Rose is the lone change from the win 2 weeks ago against Sutherland. It's not just been the fresher legs, it's been the preciseness of their play. And Alan Harbas, having scored a hat-trick in an hour, takes his congratulations as he exits the field of play. Embraced with coach Jim Van Weeren. It's replaced by Matthias McAllister. You see the strapping around that right hand, which has affected his training a little bit recently. Dylan Rose, the other replacement for Wataru Camillo. 2 changes as well for Blacktown City. Keanu Moore and Maxime Yesh entering the fray. The end of the afternoon for Mitch Malia, with Yesh coming to the right-hand side to fill his position. And Marty Fernandez has also made way, so it's a completely new midfield for Mark Crittenden. That started the afternoon torn to shreds by the play of the young Sky Blues. Stand on the far side at London Stadium is emptied rather quickly. It's making their way to the bar in the Hudson Hotel. It's a conciliatory beverage. Another poor turnover, this time from the substitute Moore. And they're just streaming through on goal. Quintal's well onside. 3-on-2 here for Sydney. Quintal, it's 5. And there's still 25 minutes to play. Quintal, the creator, turns goal scorer. And Blacktown looking without fight, without response. And as much of the story is about their poor performance, the stunning display of this young Sky Blues team will also be a talking point. They've done it before. We've seen them do it across the course of the last couple of seasons, but their form this year has not suggested a scoreline like this. At the home of a team fighting for a premiership. And now the question in the final 25 minutes for Mark Crittenden, on the back of what has been such a good 2-month period for this Blacktown City team, is have they got any character to go with what has been a thoroughly disappointing display? Just one result, yes. Lopsided scorelines happen in this competition. It's a consequence of the long season and changing depth of the squads, but I have to say, this has been a period of Blacktown City's season where they haven't had as many injuries as they did towards the end of last year and at the start of the season. Mark Crittenden's been able to rotate his squad. They have played a lot of football through the cups over the past month or so. It has resulted in an almighty beating here, which I don't think too many would have seen coming. Jack O'Brien fires in this corner. Can they find some consolation in the form of a goal. Might have had one or two earlier today, but the meaning in those moments has disappeared as their display has worsened. And there's just no one back. Everyone thrust forward, and Lacey's got all day to pick out a pass. Choi getting back in the nick of time to stop from Quintal from adding a second in almost as many minutes. Blacktown's defence for a moment there in 6s and 7s. All caught up field. Major. Bandiera outside him. Another sloppy turnover. Sydney happy to play out. Lockie Middleton. Second goal really got the ball rolling towards the end of the first half. His first goal in almost 2 years. Brother Jarrett's had a fine afternoon marshalling Travis Major along with Kyle Shaw. Blacktown have just not been able to get close to them. Absolute been given time to sum up his options. De Jesus. Been on the periphery of this game. Has had some good moments. Now, Danny Choi, a little bit of ill discipline, just straying into an offside position. Not making his way back on sides. Attitude of some of the Blacktown City players, I think, will be of disappointment to Mike Crittenden as this afternoon has worn on. End of the road for Will Kennedy. Sort of helping hand in a fine display across the 11. Tyler Williams will go into the centre of defence with Jared Middleton moving to left fullback, and immediately he's going to be called into action here as Danny Choi's off the shoulder. Absolute positioned himself well and beat the ball away. You see the joy that the travelling Sydney FC fans are getting out of this one. By far their most convincing display of the season. Moore. Here's a chance for Jackson Bandiera. Trying to turn inside, but no one wearing black there. And we've seen this time after time, particularly in the second half. Sydney FC players high up the pitch with no defensive attention afforded them. From a first half where it really was a contest to a second half where it's been one-way traffic. A similar display you can think of this season with Blacktown Cities when they had the colours blown by Spirit FC, but of course they were down to 10 men fairly early in that game. Even then they weren't beaten by 5. Questions about the defence will come back into sharper focus this week, but along with that, their general play has been well short of the mark for a team that wants to be competing for silverware. A difficult little run of fixtures coming up after this for Crittenden's team as well. Wollongong off the back of that win over the champions last night down at Wynn Stadium next Saturday night. Never an easy trip. Well, Blacktown have had some success down in Wollongong over the past few years. Then Marconi visit here. Managed to get a 1-1 draw with them in the opening game of the season. Jacob Kresner scoring on his debut for the club that day. Late on to nick a point. Then they travel away to Spirit FC. I just mentioned, thumped them here earlier in the season. Former Spirit player, Jared McKinley, who's fighting off Tay Hadley and winning the free kick. 20 minutes to play. Really the question is, what can Blacktown City salvage here? Not much with ball playing like that from McKinley. And again, Sydney FC have numbers on the counter. Tay Hadley just leaving the ball behind. Getting into a wrestling match with McKinley, which the Blacktown City midfielder won. And then Moore had the ball nicked off him unfairly, said the referee. for Sydney FC. This will take them to 5 games without a loss. 3 wins and 2 draws in that run of fixtures. Tricky little fixture for them next weekend as well. They host Rockdale Illingdon at the Illingdon Sports Centre. 2 teams playing out of the ground they call home. In this competition at least. And they host Spirit FC in a trip away to Barton Park, only really down the road from the Illingdon Sports Centre. Bandiera. Can Blacktown get that consolation? Easy touchdown from Jared Middleton and quaked away by Kyle Shaw. He's wearing the captain's armband now with the departure of the hat-trick scorer, Harbas.
Slide on! Slide on! See, you might have to help Jared here. You might have to help Jared here. Just keep dropping.
So what will this result mean for the table as well? It means Blacktown City will stay in 3rd place. They haven't been any higher than that this season. Point behind Rockdale Illingdon. Still 5 behind, or 6, sorry, behind the Marconi Stallions, who lead the way even after their first loss of the year on Saturday night. Sydney just taking their time, making their way over for the corner kick. Just an update from Christie Park, from Plume Park rather. The Central Coast Mariners managing to get a goal back against Spirit FC. 10 minutes to play in that one on the New South Wales Football New South Wales YouTube channel. A reminder for all the action from the fixtures across the weekend, head to @NPL NSW. All the highlights as McAllister flicks that one over the top. Match reports, match previews can be found there as well. Terrific coverage of our competition and our behind-the-scenes look at everything happening from both the men's and women's match of the rounds. One more substitution for Sydney FC. Joey Kalisic going to enter the fray. Kyle Shaw. Hoping that passing it over, they can keep this sheet clean. 3rd armband wearer as well. Jared Middleton taking it up. Started the day in the heart of Sydney FC's defence, has since moved to left full-back. Tiago Quintal has covered almost every blade of the artificial grass out on Landon Stadium today. Drifting wide is Rose, and there's a shot in there from Headley, beaten away by Henderson. Danger still not clear for Blacktown. Lynch using his body smartly. Almost had it nicked off him. No foul, though. And Quintal's got a chance to cross, had too much on it for McAllister. Ball's taken Henderson out of his area, though, so he has to clear with his less favoured left foot. Major managing to get on the ball and making the clearance stick. Game number 300, not one to remember for Blacktown City skipper. So finding himself in the heart of midfield, just looking to get a couple of touches on the ball and drive his team forward. Ben Berry for his skipper. Started the move, Major. Can't find any forwards passes though. Sydney FC have done well to retreat as the artificial light takes over from the natural stuff here at Landon Stadium. Nice nick from Kalisic, from Lacey, and Quintal's away, but he was offside. Not the first player to lose a shin pad this afternoon. We've seen one of them thrown over to the near side. Quintal regathers his. Lovely switch from Jack O'Brien for Danny Choi. Goes for goal, why not? made his name on strikes like that. First came into this competition, Danny Choi. Moved his wristband. He's showing a frustration about how this game has gone for Blacktown. Air of bewilderment around London Stadium as to how this has all unfolded. Have been in such good form. Sydney FC 12th on the table coming into the afternoon. Blacktown sitting third. Sydney, we mentioned, have been in a decent run of form. I don't think anyone expected this. Particularly given, even with all that A-League players available, not been able to pick up dominating displays like the Wanderers did a couple of years ago, but it has all come together for Jim Van Weeren today as Bandiera floats that one towards Yash. Off away by Jared Middleton. Jack O'Brien happy to retain possession with Ben Berry. It's Jack O'Brien again, whipping it in. Half away by Kalisic, kept alive by Yash. Falls for more, boots it into Middleton, and behind it goes for a Blacktown City corner. Sydney FC now holding this dominating lead. Yeah, swinging in towards Herfsloot, but it's catching practice for the Sydney FC keeper. As a result of that, Sydney FC's ladder position is going to improve even further. They're going to jump up into 10th position ahead of Sydney Olympic. Even after their win yesterday at Jubilee Stadium over Sydney United. They'll be just behind the team from Adenta Park. Kintal. Gorgeous close control, just getting another little display. Williams, just see how nicely Sydney FC are moving the ball from one side to the other, and now the running power of De Jesus has taken him past two. Can he sum up his options? Berry's clearance wasn't the best, and Lacey's shot is deflected behind off Campbell. The desire in areas like that has been the difference at times today, particularly in the second half. No, De Jesus is such a terrific athlete. It's just his desire to make his way past the two Blacktown City players there. Still, the afternoon could get worse. Grey skies providing some pathetic fallacy for Blacktown City fans this afternoon. Lynch clever enough to win out in the entanglement with Kalisic, who looks rather bemused by it all. McKinley.
Good, Jared. Good, Jared. Pass him on, Jared.
Ben Berry for Jack O'Brien. Kintal just clattering into his ankles.
Stay connected to him, T. Rosie, penalty spot. You ready?
Blacktown City given the advantage. I think they might have liked the free kick. In any case, keeps the ball in play. Ben Berry. Jack O'Brien just modelling his lines again. It's not been his finest afternoon. It's not the only one. And Sydney FC streaming forward in counter-attack. Jared Middleton's found his way upfield as well. Kintal. Oh, it's a gorgeous ball for McAllister. Forces the save from Henderson. Perfectly weighted pass. Lacey just a little late on McKinley. Won a few fouls since coming on. No doubt the Stallions watching on this afternoon and breathing a sigh of relief over the fact that their nearest contenders have not been able to take advantage of the drop points yesterday. Bandiera for Major. Would have been cold consolation, a goal on his 300th appearance with the scoreline as it is, but not able to turn it on target. The Blacktown City skipper. Yeah, has rather gone out of the ground with the exception of that small contingent of Sydney FC supporters. At the end of the day, it's only 3 points dropped for Blacktown City over the course of a 30-game season. Much in the same way, one sparrow doesn't make a summer, one poor performance doesn't rule you out of contention for big prizes, but it's a hammer blow to their chances of really being competitive for the premiership, certainly. It's an acknowledgement from all oppositions that Blacktown are generally not an easy team to play at any time in the season. They have been this afternoon, must be said. Focus on the cup will give them some comfort going forwards, and if they can make it back to the national rounds, perhaps another national draw beckons as it did against Adelaide United a year ago. Felt disappointed because they played well that night and were without so many at that stage in the season. The injury crisis that befell the club late last season still made it all the way to a preliminary final against the Stallions. Lynch just without options and turning it over cheaply. Quintal could have a second here and did it all off the post. Looked almost certain to finish from there. Such has been the assuredness of his touches this afternoon. Henderson is let off, saved by his post. Blacktown going in counter-attack, trying to grab something back to take home with them this afternoon. Yash with Williams in his back. This is more the rhythm of the game we saw in the first half, where it really was such a tight tussle. De Jesus almost having his pants pulled down, quite literally. And eventually the only way to stop him was Jackson Bandiera cutting across him and scything him down. Look spent, Zach De Jesus, he has got through some serious output down that right flank today. He's copped a couple of kicks for his trouble across the course of the game as well. Would have been a winger in the old days, Zach De Jesus. It's, Jared Middleton's been sent to the touchline here. It's one of the fun things about these artificial pitches is they can open up the knees. He's opened up Jared Middleton well and truly here. A nice big graze on that left knee. So Sydney down to 10 for the moment. Sporting a bandage which is similar to what Joe Lacey had applied at the end of the first half. Oh, an air swing from Tyler Williams. Might have let Blacktown City in here, and Major, who was second to it, was offside anyway. Keanu Moore's ball through, had too much on it. Sydney FC been given the advantage. McAllister allowed to turn. Turning into a bit of a wall of Blacktown City defenders. Jack O'Brien's still full of running. Even if this game is a lost cause. Yesh. And that pass sums up Blacktown City's afternoon. Got themselves into dangerous positions often enough to trouble Sydney FC, but there's been a lack of cutting edge, which has not been the case for them. They've been one of the freest scoring teams in the competition. 28 goals across, well, now their 14th game. Put them an average exactly 2 a game. Let's see if they're not able to find one late here. The goal scoring touch has evaded them this afternoon, in contrast to their opponents. Got a stunning result here. You can tell by his standards, he's had a very poor 5 or 10 minutes. Was but an otherwise pretty stunning display. One of those players that is going to have Australian football fans very keen to turn up and watch him week on week over the next decade or so. Turning into a very fine footballer. Very trying to bend it for Choi. Got it to the Blacktown City leaders late. Might have liked some of the attitude they've shown in the last 10 minutes. Towards the end of the second, or towards the beginning of the second half, when Sydney FC really belted home their advantage. 2 goals to Harbas, 1 to Tiago Quintal. Harbas hitting a hat-trick will be the headline you'll be reading on the NPL New South Wales Twitter page as the rain joins us for the first time this afternoon. A dampener on what has been an already dreary afternoon for Blacktown City fans. Sydney FCs are singing in the rain. And that ceased being a contest really when Quintal put home the 5th. That was only just after the hour mark as well. The game has sort of fizzled out since then, to no one's surprise. A bit of training run for both teams in the last half hour. Blacktown City tested their character as much as anything, and they have made a game of it, but the quality is just not much the desire. And at times Sydney FC have outdone them in that area as well today. De Jesus chasing that one down to keep it in, seeing if Sydney can add a 6th. Nice piece of interplay. Headley, it's been characteristic of their afternoon. Half-time sub, flicking it up, back-heeled away by Lynch. And then Jack O'Brien chopped down from behind. Jack O'Brien asking for players to move for him. Yesh. Lynch. Wide for Bandiera. Joined us at half-time today with Jacob Kressner suffering a knock. It didn't look to be too serious, but maybe a precautionary thing for Blacktown City with so much football coming up for them. Another aspect of this loss today that we haven't mentioned, talking about them moving up into an Australian Championship qualifying place at the start of the afternoon. Discussion has died down as the afternoon's unfolded. The challenge from Ben Berry, one of the top finishing team that aren't already part of that competition. Which Marconi are, as the league leaders, means the second place team would qualify for that competition in October. Would have gone past Rockdale Illand and into that qualifying position. Sydney FC have pushed them out of that picture, at least for now. Still a lot of football to be played. We're only just approaching the midway point of the season. Keanu Moore Can he be the one to gather something? Great piece of defending from De Jesus. Full of desire to get his body between the defender and the ball. Lacey's touch took him out of play. We are now in stoppage time. Minutes that will be part of the postscript when everything's said and done here. McKinley pondering over his options. It's been a characteristic of Blacktown's play today. Not one they'll want to retain. Travis Major providing the commentary there. Apologies if you did hear anything unfriendly, but that sums up the frustration as engulfed the captain and his 11 today, as well as Mark Crittenden. Quintal. Those pink boots. Flashy for a flashy player. Lockie Middleton, whose stroke will live long in his memory. It was an absolute beauty just before the break. McAllister allowed to turn. Darts in on his right foot. And a good save from Henderson. Stops it being 6. Awkward one as well. Just skipped up off the artificial turf. The Blacktown City players think defending this quarter is about the last thing they want to do. Sydney FC not going to send it in. I'm sure they would like a 6th, but the referee denies them that opportunity, and their job was done within the hour. 2-0 at half-time through goals from Alan Harbas and Lachlan Middleton, and they went on with it in the opening quarter of an hour in the second. Harbas completed his hat-trick, 2 brilliantly taken goals, some questionable Blacktown defending before Quintal added a 5th just after the hour. And so Blacktown's premiership hopes given a big blow this afternoon after their main competitors dropped points earlier in the weekend. That's the story of round 14 in the NPL New South Wales men's, and a big win for Sydney FC, who get themselves to the safety of mid-table. A shock here at Landon Stadium. Travis Major's 300th appearance, not one to be remembered by the hosts here, as their run of 5 straight wins in the league is snapped, and in some style by a superb Sydney FC. Alex Molchanov signing off from Landon Stadium on Sunday afternoon. Happy Mother's Day. Let's finish Blacktown City 0, Sydney FC 5.